Hello, my little mathematicians. Today we are going to practice area, perimeter, surface area, and volume. Okay. As always, please pause the video at any point in time, try the problem yourself, and then unpause it and check to see if you got it right. Okay. But always be trying to see if you can do it correctly first. You can speed up, rewind, fast forward. Okay. It's in your hands. So let's take a look at number 1. The first point when you're graphing always goes right or left. If it's positive, you go to the right. If it's negative, you go to the left. The second point tells you up or down. If it's positive, you go up. If it's negative, you go down. If you find yourself making mistakes on these a lot, what I would suggest maybe is kind of doing a little sketch. Focus on only the right ones first, on the first points. And if it goes right or left, so you would go left, right, positive, so right, negative, so left. Okay, and then the second one's up or down. It's negative, so down, negative, so down, nothing, nothing. All right, and then that way, like, it kind of helps you see, oh, I'm going to go 2 to the left, and then I'm going to go 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 to the right and 5 down. 5 to the right and up, nothing. 5 to the left and up, nothing. And now you have those 4 points, so go ahead and connect them with straight lines. And what does that make? It's not a parallelogram because, yes, these 2 lines are parallel, but if you were to extend those, they would intersect. And since there's only one pair of parallel lines, that's a trapezoid. Okay, it asks you to find the area of this shape. So the area of a trapezoid is base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. So I need to know my 2 base lengths. And the bases are the ones that are parallel to each other. So this and this. You can't find the length of diagonal lines. So let's find this length. Remember, when you're counting the distance between 2 points, do not go 1, 2, 3. See what I did? 1, 2, 3. I started right here. Nope. You only count as you move a space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If it helps, you can do those little loopy things to help you count. Okay, and then this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have my 2 bases of 10 and 4. I'm going to add those and then multiply it with my height. The height is the straight down perpendicular distance that separates your 2 parallel bases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be my height all over 2. So those combine to make 14. 2 can go into 14 7 times. So 7 times 5 is 35. If they didn't tell you the units, just use the word units for your units, and then, it's area, so be units squared. But they actually told me that each box in the graph represents 1 square unit. So I'm going to say that it's 35 centimeters squared. But again, if they didn't specify what units to use, you would just write the actual word units, or sometimes you see it abbreviated with a U. U stands for units when they don't specify what type. Okay, this one, see if you can graph these correctly. Remember, you can always pause the video and come back. All right, so you have to the right 4 and up 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. To the left 3 and down 2. And then to the right 6, down 2. 4, 5, 6, down 1, 2. I'm going to connect those points, and they make a triangle. Okay, you want to find the area. You can't find the perimeter because you can't find it of slanted lines. We don't know how to find the distance of those. So base times height divided by 2 would give me the area. See, they've asked me to find the area. And the base length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And your height straight down from the top of the figure to the bottom, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So base times height divided by 2 is 63 divided by 2, which is 31.5. 31.5 what? Well, it says each square or each box represents 1 square kilometer. So kilometers squared for my area. All right, if you're getting those right, good job. Again, you can always pause the video, try it yourself, and then come back to check. For our next one, this time we're going to find the missing length and the perimeter of these figures. So it tells me the area. And what shape is this? This is a parallelogram because this is parallel and these two sides are parallel. So the formula for area of a parallelogram is base times height. So now that this is my formula, they told me the area is 72. So replace A with 72. The base length, I don't know. But the height is 8. So you don't know the base, so I kept that as a variable. But I replaced my h, my height, with 8. Now 8 times what is 72? I don't know, so divide both sides by 8. And then you get b equals 9. So 9 what? Inches or inches squared? You're solving for just the base, so it's inches. Okay, now if this is 9, this is 9. And if this is 9.4, this is 9.4. Because opposite sides are parallel and equal in a parallelogram. So to find the perimeter, there's 2 sides that are 9 and 2 sides that are 9.4. And perimeter means you add all the outside edges. This is not part of the outside. So dashed lines aren't actually a part of the figure. Just add up the solid lines along the outside of the figure when you're finding the perimeter. 2 times 9 is 18. 2 times 9.4. Let's see. You get 8 and 18 decimal, so 18.8. Add those together, you get 36.8. Is it inches or inches squared? We were solving for perimeter, so it's just inches. All right, you found both the base and the perimeter for that one. What about this one? What shape is that? It's a trapezoid. So the formula for area of a trapezoid is, again, base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. My 2 bases are 16 and 26 because those are the 2 sides that are parallel to each other. My height that separates them, I don't know, so I keep it unknown. My area, they told me, was 210, so I replaced the A with 210. Now let's simplify this. 16 plus 26 is 42, so you have 42h over 2 equals 210. 42 divided by 2 is 21. So 21 times something is 210. What do you do to get h by itself? Divide both sides by 21. So now 210 divided by 21 is 10. Those cancel to become 1 because anything divided by itself is 1. And 1 times h is just h. So h is 10. 10 what? 10 centimeters. Now it also wanted me to find the perimeter. So add all along the outside. You have this 11.2 plus that 16 plus that 11.2 plus this 26. Add all those 4 together into your calculator and you should get 64.4 centimeters for the perimeter. Okay. For this next one, we want to find the area and the perimeter of this. There's 2 ways that I could do this. I could break it here and here, and then add this tiny one, and this big one. Or I could find it of this entire rectangle and then just subtract out that little rectangle that's not a part of it. I think I'm going to do it that way. Okay, so I'm going to find the area of this entire big rectangle that is 24 meters high. And how long is it? Well, it's 6, 18, and another 6. So 6 and 6 make 12. 12 plus 18 is 30. So that's a 24 by 30 rectangle, and that gives me the area of all of this. But this isn't actually part of the shape, so I would need to subtract that little guy out because I'm really only finding the area of this weird, like almost U shape. Okay, so this little guy has a length of 18, and it should be given to you, but it's not on the drawing. Pretend that there was a little 5 meters right here, okay? So they would have to give you that. There's no way that you could have figured it out from what they provided you. So this is 18 by 5. Okay, so you have 24 times 30, because the formula for a rectangle is base times height. So 30 times 24 minus this little one, which is 18 times 5. Well, 30 times 24 is 720, and 18 times 5 is 270. When you subtract those, you get 450. 450 what? Meters squared, because we are solving for the area. Now to find the perimeter, you add along the outside. I find it helpful to kind of like trace it as I write it so I don't forget anything. Okay, so I have this side of 24 plus this guy, which we already established 6, 18, and 6 make 30, plus this one, which is 24, plus this guy is 6, plus this, they should have told you again, was 5. That was a mistake. We'll fix that for next year. This from here to here is 18, plus that from here to here is 5, plus this from here to here is 6. Okay, so now go ahead and add all your outside edges. 24 plus 30 plus 24 plus 6 plus 5 plus 18 plus 5 plus 6, and you get 118 meters for your perimeter. Again, I find it helpful if you kind of like trace each line as you write it down so you don't forget anything. All right, we have this weird shape. What do you recommend? What do you think we should do to break it up? Yeah, it's pretty easy if you break it right here where the triangle and then you have this little square at the bottom. Or actually, it's not a square, it's a rectangle because it's not equal, 4 and 5. So for the area, let's go ahead and add this triangle plus this rectangle. Again, the rectangle we established was 4 by 5. It's nice and easy. Okay, now for this triangle, I need to know this whole base length. So 3, what's this? 4, because it's the same as this, plus another 3. So 3 and 3 make 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. It has a base length of 10. What's the height of my triangle? Well, it says this whole thing is 13, right? What's from here to here? Well, from here to here is the same as this, so 5. So 5 plus what makes 13? 8. So the triangle has a height of 8 and a base of 10. And the formula for a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So 10 times 8 divided by 2, 80 divided by 2 is 40. And then plus your rectangle of base times height, so 4 times 5 is 20. And 40 plus 20 is 60. So your area is 60 yards squared. For the perimeter, you add all along the outside. So you have this one, which is 9.4, plus from here to here is 3, plus there to there is the same as that, so 5, plus from there to there is 4, plus from here to here is 5, plus that 3, and finally plus this length, which is 9.4. You can see like it would have been easy to miss one of them, so I like tracing my figure as I write them. Now type all those into your calculator, and when you add them all together, you get 38.8 yards. Oops, 38.8 yards. Perimeter is always singular units, whereas area is always in units squared. Okay. Again, if you miss any, you're free to rewatch the video, rewind it, try it again, but always pause the video and try problems yourself before we go through them together. Okay, this one, the shaded region is the whole thing. I know it's a poor copy, but this whole thing, this whole little house looking shape is shaded. So if I want to find the area of this, I'm going to add that top shape, which is a trapezoid, to that bottom rectangle. So base times height plus base 1 plus base 2 times height divided by 2. So I need to find the height of that trapezoid. Okay. From here to here is 6 because this is 6, right? So 6 plus what equals that full 9? 3. So the height has to be 3. Okay, they told me this base right here is 10, but what's this base? Well, from here to here is 1, and from here to here is 1, but what about this length? This is the same as this, so 14. So 1 plus 14 plus another 1 makes that whole bottom base length of 16. Okay, so 1 base plus the other base times the height of 3 all over 2. Well, 16 plus 10 is 26. Half of 26 is 13, and 13 times 3 is 39 for this area. And then for my rectangle, you have base times height. So 14 times 6. Type that into your calculator, and 14 times 6 is 84. When you add 39 plus 84, you should get 123 meters squared because you're finding the area. Okay, we have just the shaded portion, so that's this outer area right here. What do you think the best way to find the area of that shape would be? Okay, hopefully you said that you should probably find the area of the whole triangle and then just subtract out that little rhombus or diamond looking shape, right? Okay. When you're finding the area of a rhombus, it's diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 divided by 2. The area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Okay, so the base length of the triangle is 25, and the height of that triangle is 14. So 25 times 14 divided by 2. Half of 14 is 7. 7 times 25, you get 175. Okay, so the area of the triangle is 175, but I need to subtract out that rhombus. Well, one of your diagonal lengths, they tell you right here, is 9. Okay, and then this other diagonal length is 8. Okay, so you have 9 times 8 divided by 2. 9 times 8 is 72. 72 divided by 2 is 36. So 175 minus 36 gives you 139 meters squared for the area of that surrounding shaded portion. Okay, if you're getting these right, good job. If not, try to find some similar type of problems, either, Khan Academy in our packet here in the online textbook, or also typing CUDA worksheet, K-U-T-A, CUDA worksheet into Google. And then just for this particular type of problem, you would do like find the area of composite shapes. Okay, now we have surface area of prisms and pyramids. A pyramid comes to a point at the top and only has one base across from that point. A prism has 2 bases. So this shape doesn't come to a point at the top, right? And this one doesn't come to a point at the top. So these are prisms, these are pyramids. So these are going to have 2 bases and rectangular sides. These are going to have 1 base and triangular sides. However many sides your shape has depends upon how many sides your base shape has. So if your base shape has 3 sides, there's going to be 3 rectangles coming off. If your base shape has 4 sides, there's going to be 4 rectangles coming off. For a pyramid, if your base shape has 3 sides, there's 3 triangles coming off. For a pyramid, if your base shape has 4 sides, there's 4 triangles coming off. Okay. So again, we already established that these two are prisms. So my base here and here, okay, you have it as 8 by 16. Base times height, so 16 times 8. 16 times 8 is 128. And whatever the top or the bottom is, so is the top. Okay, now there is 4 sides to that base shape, so there should be 4 more rectangles coming off. 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are all rectangles. They're all going to have the same formula of base times height. So I see one face right here in the front, and it's 12 by 16. So 16 times 12, if you type that into your calculator, 16 times 12 is 192. And whatever the front is, so is the back. Then I see another face right here on the side. And this guy is 8 by 12. Okay, so 12 times 8 is 96. And whatever the left side is, so is the right side over there. So now you have your 2 bases of 128 and your 4 faces coming off of it. So go ahead and type all those into your calculator, and you get what for that rectangular prism? You get 832 inches squared. And it's a prism because it doesn't come to a point at the top. And what type of prism? A rectangular prism, because whatever your base shape is, that's the first name. Okay, now this next one, what type of shape is that? Well, a prism has rectangular sides. So anything that isn't a rectangle has to be your base. So that means that this and that triangle are your base shape. So it's a triangular, and we said it was a prism. Okay, so you have your 2 triangular bases. And how many sides does a triangle have? It has 3 sides. So there should be a total of 3 rectangles coming off of it. So base times height for your rectangles. And base times height divided by 2 for the area of your triangles. Okay, remember that little box always connects your base to your height. So the base length of the triangle is 21. The height is this length right here, not that 35, but right here, because the box connects this line to this line. This is the same as this, so 28. So you have 28 times 21 divided by 2. Half of 28 is 14. 14 times 21, you get 294. And whatever this base is, so is the other base. Okay, now there's 3 rectangles that I need to find in that shape. I see one in the back right here, and that one is 28 by 18. So 18 times 28. If you type that into your calculator, 28 times 18 is 504. Do you see another rectangle anywhere? I see one right here. So 21 by this is the same as this, which is the same as that. Okay, so 21 by 18. And 21 times 18 makes 378 for the area of that rectangle. There's one more hiding somewhere. I see it right up here at the top. And that guy is 18 by 35. So 35 times 18. 35 times 18 is 630. Okay, you have your two bases, and your bases have three sides, so three rectangles coming off of it. You found them all, so add all those together, and you get 210, 2100 or 2100 meters squared for that triangular prism. One thing I strongly recommend, when you're using a calculator, there is no Siri, so please lie it flat. Use one finger, okay? Don't use your thumbs because then you have clumsy thumbsy moments and there's no Siri to protect you. So put it flat, use one finger, type it in, write it down, hit clear, and type it in one more time. It couldn't hurt, just in case you miss something or you typed the wrong button. Okay, so each time you type it in, like when you do this, type it in, write it down, hit clear, type it in one more time. Make sure you still got this. Same thing here. Type it in twice, type it in twice, type it in twice. And then when you go to add all these numbers, add them, write it down, hit clear, type them in one more time, and make sure you got the same answer. Just a strong suggestion to save you a lot of tears later as before you get your test back, right? Okay. These are pyramids, so they should only have one base, and your base is always across from that top point. So pyramid. And what type of pyramid? Well, what's the base? It is that triangle. So it is a triangular pyramid. Okay. That little box right here connects the height, which they said was 6.1, to this base, which is 7. So base times height divided by 2 is 7 times 6.1 divided by 2. And when you type that into your calculator, you get 21.35. Now, this has three sides, so there should be three triangles coming off of it. Again, prisms have rectangular sides coming off of your two bases, and pyramids have triangular sides coming off of your one base. And however many sides your base shape has is how many rectangle faces come off. How many sides your base shape has, how many rectangles coming off. How many sides your base shape has for a pyramid, same thing, that's how many triangles are going to come off. So I see one of my triangular faces right here. It has a base length of 7 and a height of 12. So base times height divided by 2, 7 times 12 divided by 2. Half of 12 is 6. 6 times 7 is 42. Now, this one back here, that triangle, also has a base length of 7. So that means when you stretch the height up to the top, it's going to have the same height. So it's going to match. Another triangular side of 42. Okay, and then you have, that was that back one. Then you have this front one right here. And it has a base length of 7. So it's going to have the same height, which means since they have the same base and height, it's going to be the same of 42 as well. So if you have all three side lengths of your base shape the same, then all three triangles coming off will be the same. If let's say this was 6, 7, 7, only two of them are the same, then two triangles would match, the third triangle would be different. If all three side lengths were different, if it was like 6, 7, 8, then all three triangles coming off would be different. But because all your side lengths were 7, 7, and 7, that made up that base shape, all the heights stretching up to the top are going to match as well. Okay, so that was nice. We had our one base triangle plus our three faces. And when you add all those together, you get a total surface area of 147.35 inches squared. Okay, last one for this page. We have this pyramid. And what is the base shape? That is a rectangle. So it's a rectangular pyramid. That rectangle is 6 by 2. So base times height, 6 times 2 is 12. And you have 4 sides, so there should be a total of 4 triangles coming off of it. Triangles are base times height divided by 2. So I need to find those measurements. Let's see. I see a triangle right here on the side. That guy is 2 by 6.5. So base is 2, height is 6.5 divided by 2. Those cancel and become 1. So 1 times 6.5 is 6.5. Whatever the left is, the right's going to be the same, because if this base is 2, then that length is 2 as well. And so then this has the same base length for that triangle, so the height's going to match. So 2 triangles that are 6.5, because the left and right are going to match. Then I have this front triangle right here, and it has a base length of 6 and a height, it says, of 5. So 6 times 5 divided by 2, that's 30 divided by 2 is 15. And since this is 6, the back's going to be 6, which means the height's going to match. So whatever the area of this front triangle is, the back triangle is going to match. So you have your base shape that had 4 sides. So 4 triangles coming off. Sweet. Go ahead and add all those together. And when you add all those into your calculator, you get 55 feet squared. If you want more practice of these down here, type in KUTA, K-U-T-A, worksheet with answers. And then like the topic would be surface area of prisms or pyramids, whichever one you want more practice of. And then if you want the top ones up at there, 7 and 8, those would be composite figures if you want more practice with those. Okay, or you could also try Khan Academy. All right, last page. Draw a net for these following figures. Okay, you have a rectangle. So a rectangle, and it's a prism. So that means there's 2 bases, not just one. And there's going to be rectangular faces coming off, because prisms have rectangular sides. How many rectangles are going to be coming off? Well, your base shape has 4 sides. So there should be 4 rectangles coming off. 1, 2, 3, 4 of your 2 base shapes. Obviously, this isn't the only way to do it. As long as you have your bases on opposite sides and there's the correct amount, like 2 bases, and then it has 4 sides, so 4 rectangles coming off, it'll work. Okay, this one, they want a triangular prism. So a triangle, because that's the base shape, and there's a prism, so 2 of them. And prisms have rectangular sides. How many rectangles for this guy? Well, since the base shape has 3 sides, there should be a total of 3 rectangles. Okay, it doesn't matter if these were here or up there, as long as the bases are on opposite sides and you have the 2 bases and 3 rectangles coming off, you're fine. Pyramids are nice. They have your base shape in the center. So rectangular pyramid would have a rectangle in the middle, and a triangular pyramid would have a triangle in the middle. And then pyramids mean that they have triangular sides. So triangles coming off of that one base shape. Right? So 4 sides, so 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles coming off. 3 sides for this one base, so 1, 2, 3 triangles coming off. Okay, prisms have rectangular sides. Pyramids have triangular sides. Prisms have 2 bases. Pyramids have 1 base. And again, for pyramids, you have your base shape in the center with triangles coming off. And then prisms have your 2 bases on opposite sides, separated by rectangles. Okay, last few problems here. Find the volume of each figure. Volume is so much easier than surface area. We got this. The formula for volume is area of the base, that's why it's a big B, not a little b, times the height. We're lucky that we're only going to be dealing with rectangular prisms. So the formula for the area of a rectangle is length times width, right? And then times the height of the whole figure. That separates one base from the other. So this is the official formula for volume. Depending upon whatever your base shape is, that would change right here. So if it's a triangular prism, it would be base times height divided by 2 times the height of the figure. If it was a trapezoidal prism, it would be base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2 times the height of the figure. But for the sake of us here in 6th grade, we're only going to be dealing with rectangular prisms. So we can kind of just focus on this formula right here. This is all we need to know. But just know that it will change once you add in more shapes because it's the area of the base times the height. So whatever your base shape is, this part might change. Okay. But for now, we just need to know this. So they said it has a base length of 12.2, a width of 10.5. So I plug that in for W and 12.2 for the length, and a height of 32. So multiply the length, the width, the height to get your volume. And when you type that into your calculator, you get 4,099.2 inches cubed. Okay. Now, for number 18, let's add one in here. What if it said a rectangular prism has a volume of 168,000 cubic inches? Okay. And then they said the length is 60 inches and the width is 40 inches. Then what's the height? Okay. Well, the formula for volume is length times width times height. They told me the volume is 168,000. The length they said was 60. The width they said was 40. So I just need to find the height. So since it's unknown, I'm going to keep it in H. So on this side, you can simplify 60 times 40. Well, 6 times 4 is 24. Tack on your 2 zeros and then the H. So 2,400 times H is equal to 168,000. To figure that out, divide both sides by 2,400. Because 2,400 divided by itself is 1. So now you have 1H equals 168,000 divided by 2,400, you get 70. So that would mean that your height would be 70 inches. If they told you the volume was 168,000, the length was 60, and the width was 40. So just be prepared. They could just have you solve for the volume and give you the length, width, and height. But if they give you the volume, you might need to plug that in here and then solve for one of the missing dimensions. Okay, if that was 18, that makes this 19, this 20, 21, 22, and 23. Okay. You want to find the volume of this composite figure. So you could break it here and do this one plus this one, or you could break it vertically and do this and this. I'm just going to break it right here and find the volume of this guy. Okay, so you could just draw slanted lines out that way. Okay, plus this taller one. So I draw a rectangle and then slanted lines coming up from it and then just connect those. So for this one right here, it has a width of 7, a height of 11, and a length of 15. Okay, so length times width times height is 15 times 7 times 11. Plus this length times width times height. Okay, the length is easy. That's 20. The width is the same as this, which is the same as this, which is the same as that. So that's 7. But the height, okay, from here to here is 10, which means from here to here is 10. But what about this part? Well, this is the same as this. So 11 plus 10 makes what for that total height? It would be 21. Okay, so length was 20, width was 7, and that height was 21. Well, 15 times 7 times 11, you get 1,155. And 20 times 7 times 21, you get 2,940. Add those together, this volume plus this volume, and you get 4,095 centimeters cubed. Okay, even if you broke it here and did this one plus this one, you still should have gotten the same volume. It's just you, I think the hard part would have been for this guy to find the length then. So it would have been 20 plus that 15, so 35 for that length. But the height would have been 11 and the width would have been 7. And then for up here, it would have been 20 by 7 by 10. Okay, so if you had done it the other way of cutting it horizontally instead of vertically, those would have been your measurements. And you still would have gotten the same volume. Remember that surface area is always squared. Area and surface area is squared. Volume is cubed. And base, height, perimeter, length, width, those are all just singular units, like centimeters or feet. Okay, last few questions. Says, Becker has a rectangular backyard with a raised reflecting pool. A figure of the backyard is drawn below. So here's the pool and here's your raised deck. He wants to cover the shaded area in cement. How many square feet need to be covered with cement? So just this. How do you think you would do that? Well, you want to find the area then, right? So if I find the area of the whole thing and then subtract out just the pool, that will give me just this outer portion. So this whole shaded thing is 40 by 18. And then that little tiny pool is 14 by 6. These are both rectangles, so base times height. 40 times 18 for the whole deck part here, minus the little part of the pool. So 14 times 6. 40 times 18 is 720. And 14 times 6 is 84. When you subtract those, you get 636 feet squared. So that would be the area of that shaded portion. Okay, for the next question, it says, if it costs $3.75 to cover 1 square foot of cement, how much will Becker have to pay to cover the area? What you need to do is, if it's 1 square foot, it would be $3.75. If it was 2 square feet, it would be 2 times this. Well, how many square feet do you have? You have 636 square feet that he needs to cover. So I'm going to multiply that with how much it costs per square foot. So type that into your calculator and you get 2,385. Okay, our next one, if the reflecting pool has a height of 2 3/4 feet, then how many cubic feet of water can it fit? So we're trying to find the volume, and a pool is a rectangle, so length times width times height. It says it has a height of 2 3/4. So 3/4 is what as a decimal? We'll take the top divided by the bottom. 3 divided by 4 is 0.75. So 2.75 is the height. The width, so the length and the width right here, length is 14 and the width is 6. Now multiply that with your height they just told you, and then your volume of the pool is going to be 231 cubic feet of water to fill that pool. Okay, finally, it says if 1 cubic foot of water is 7.5 gallons, how many gallons of water will Becker need to fill his pool? This is confusing. Sometimes like you multiply, sometimes you divide. If you ever are struggling to decide which one to do, okay, it says 1 cubic foot of water is 7.5 gallons. So 7.5 gallons for 1 cubic foot, right? And then we know that it's 231 cubic feet to fill the pool. If you're ever deciding of what to do, like, do I multiply these numbers or do I divide them? I start with the thing that gave me one singular unit. So this is just feet cubed. This is gallons and feet cubed. So this is 1 unit. So I start with that number. And then I use my one that has 2 units with it, so gallons and feet, to help me convert it. I want the like things to go across from each other diagonally. So I'm going to put the feet cubes across from each other so that they cancel out. And feet cubed goes with gallons. And it said 7.5 gallons per 1 cubic foot. Now, if your two numbers here, 231 and 7.5, are across from each other, they get multiplied. If the 7.5 ended up being down below, it would say 231 divided by 7.5. So again, if the one number is on top of the other, it's top divided by the bottom. But if the two numbers are across from each other, then I multiply them. Just in case you ever struggle with, do I multiply these or to divide them? I can't make up my mind. Start with a thing of 1 singular unit, so feet cubed, cubic feet, and then use the thing that gave you 2 units to help you convert it. So gallons and feet cubed. Put your like terms diagonally across from each other so that they cancel. 7.5 went with gallons, 1 went with the cubic feet. Okay, so I have 231 times 7.5. You get 1,732.5. And I ended with the unit of gallons. So gallons of water, which is what they wanted. They wanted to know how many gallons of water will it take. Perfect. All right. Again, if you got all those right, congratulations. You're going to do great on your quiz. If you missed quite a few, try Khan Academy and type in the specific content you want more practice on, or CUDA worksheet with answers plus the topic you want into Google. You got this.